My name is Chase, and today we're going to be talking about the Pullman strike, what happened, what led to it, what caused it. Please be sure to smash that like button. I want to get to 2.3 million subscribers by the end of this year. I know we can make it, guys. I love you. Stay tuned for the end to see my Manscaped ad. So just stay tuned. Please smash that like button and please subscribe. I know we can do it, guys. Alright, Pullman strike. Let's give a little bit of context here. Pullman Palace Car Company was in an economic downturn, so they tried to cut their workers' wages and they did not lower the price of the living facility, which is crazy because with the salary that they paid, since the Pullman Company owned that whole town where they worked and lived, they're basically just paying the money back. So it's kind of weird to think that even though it comes full circle, they want more and more money, which, I mean, that makes sense from my company perspective, but it's just crazy to think about back then. Anyway, though, so workers that inquired about any of this stuff, they were just fired on the spot by George M. Pullman, the current president at the time. So the workers went on strike, and they forced the company to close temporarily. They had signs up on the gates and everything. The workers went to the American Railway Union for help, since they had a history with very successful strikes. I think it was the Northern Railway Company that was a big one in April 1894. So the area met in Chicago, and it suggested like boycotting in order to get their point across. And Eugene V. Debs, who was leader at that time, thought, yes, that will work. We're going to do that. So the boycott was going strong. You had tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands people that left and were on strike in the boycotting. But in Chicago, the workers got violent and they derailed a train that just so happened to have a USPS mail car on it. So it lasted from this whole ordeal lasted from about May 11, 1894 to July 28, 1894. So you can't mess with the postmaster general. He gets really mad. So the president at the time, Grover Cleveland, decided that, hey, I got to get involved. So he asked Congress, and with the help of Congress, Grover Cleveland sent the military troops down to Chicago to contain the situation. Originally the American Railway Union, so Eugene B. Debs thought, okay, hey, they're going to come in, they're going to help us contain this, right? Help us maybe bring the riots, the damages back down to a peaceful level, but that did not happen. They were kind of overrun, so they ended up shooting into a crowd, which killed between 4 and 30 people according to accounts, and wounding many, many others. So the Pullman Company offered the workers a contract to come back, work for us, we'll pay you a little more money, all this stuff, but you have to promise us that you will never join the ARU or any other union. So the workers, they had to go. It was reluctant. They had to do it, or else, they wouldn't get any money. You gotta put into context how it was at this point, right? So they had no money, and they really didn't even have much money before that. So you had their wives, their families. They were quite literally starving to death because everything was expensive and they didn't have enough money. So they, at this point, after the strike, after all these days, these months, they needed money. So they had to go back to Pullman, had to agree to their terms because they needed money. So everything that goes around eventually comes around. And then, of course, Eugene V. Debs and the other organizers were eventually prosecuted, which really brings a wild end to this entire story, right? Alright, so point of view, who was against it? Grover Cleveland, the president, Pullman Company, General Public. General Public's a big one, right? Because they saw all these violence and all this stuff happen. They didn't know. They didn't like the Pullman Company. They didn't like the workers. They didn't like anything about it. So that is a really major player in, I guess, how people view other people. Therefore, General Public is probably the most important part. And of course, the American Railway Union workers, and then of course the organizer of the American Railway Union workers. So Eugene V. Debs, those are kind of obvious. And then Henry Ford, just in the background, a little bit of foreshadowing into the next century. Alright, so significance, purpose was to show how the Pullman Company viewed their workers. Right there, you see it right there? Not expendable at all. You could lose one or two good workers, but then you start losing tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of workers. It could be impact your company, especially in an economic downturn when you need those old, reliable employees. And the significance of all this was that it showed the power of the labor union. ARU held some successful strikes in the past, and they thought they could do it now, which they kind of accomplished their purpose, but kind of not. But I mean, it was I consider it a half success. So, and it also showed how much power the government could use on its people, which they would just they sent out everybody. They sent out the military, put them down. It's crazy. So you'll see them in the future too. And significance demonstrated how the judicial system would treat strikes and boycotts in the future. That's a big one. You can see it in like the 1960s. It will just come full circle. You see it today too. So Pullman Company, Pullman strike, wild time.